According to The Hill, Senator Sanders and Josh Hawley embraced the push for more stimulus checks. Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley want their colleagues to pass language that is a replica of the March CARES Act that provided a $1,200 stimulus payment to Americans making up to $75,000 per year. According to USA Today, a group of lawmakers unveiled a new $908 billion stimulus package on Monday, with a potential deal coming down to the wire, since Congress has until the end of the week to strike an agreement. According to Politico, Speaker Nancy Pelosi moves to break stimulus stalemate with a key meeting. She has invited congressional leaders to a meeting in her office Tuesday afternoon in a bid to break the months-long stalemate over stimulus relief negotiations. Everybody tell me what you think of Speaker Pelosi in the comments down below. We should be able to convince the Republicans to pass more stimulus relief. Leave a comment down below saying yes or no. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your news report, second stimulus check update, and second stimulus package update for December 15th. Happy Tuesday everybody. I hope you've had a great Tuesday so far. And before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell. Let's get this video to 5,000 likes if you think that Congress needs to pass more stimulus relief in this moment.
Tens of millions of Americans are facing economic desperation. These are people who cannot afford to pay their rent. They owe thousands and thousands of dollars in back rent, and they face eviction. We're looking at millions of people who cannot afford to go to the doctor in the middle of the worst public health crisis in modern American history. We're looking at families all across this country who do not have the money to adequately feed their children. And hunger in America today is at the highest level that we have seen in decades. And all over this country, working people are going deeper and deeper into debt. And the point that I'm going to be making this week in the Senate is that Congress cannot go home for the Christmas holidays until we pass legislation which addresses, or at least begins to address, the terrible economic desperation faced by so many working families in this country. And that any legislation that Congress passes.
According to The Hill, Senator Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley want their colleagues to pass more stimulus relief and stimulus payments of $1,200. According to Politico, Speaker Pelosi is trying to pass more stimulus relief before this week, before the end of the week. She's invited Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to her office for a 4 p.m. meeting. According to Politico, the outreach comes with the window quickly closing to reach a much-needed agreement before lawmakers are scheduled to depart for the holidays at the end of this week. Senior lawmakers in both parties are optimistic that McConnell and Pelosi will reach a deal on a stimulus package, but no one seems to know exactly how that will happen. Just that it must get decided in the next 24 hours, or likely not at all. Now this meeting in Pelosi's office will be the first meaningful conversation between all four leaders. The meeting comes as House leaders plan on Tuesday to introduce the text of a $1.4 trillion omnibus bill to fund the government, which is the potential vehicle for any stimulus deal. The House is hoping to introduce text to another relief deal proposal on Wednesday. Now Politico goes on to say the Republicans have suggested dropping the most contentious issues, state and local aid, and a liability shield, and a bipartisan Senate negotiating group did so on Monday, as it presented a $748 billion compromise bill, with support from members in both parties. Democratic leaders have not said they will relent on money for local governments, though they may have to in order to get a deal this week.
Or lower, couples $150,000 or lower, and also a $500 payment for their kids. Now, as some of you will remember, this is what Democrats and Republicans did unanimously in March through the CARES Act. Remember the CARES Act provided money for working families in terms of direct payments of $1,200 for an adult, $500 for a kid, provided $600 in supplementary unemployment benefits. And the situation today, in many respects, is actually worse than what it was back when we passed that bill. So if Congress could unanimously, every Democrat, every Republican, vote for that bill in the first few months of the pandemic, we can do no less today when the pandemic is surging. So I hope that you will join me.
The article goes on to say that there has been major movement in recent weeks toward a potential deal, including the bipartisan proposal finally unveiled by senators on Monday. Senators did not provide an update on the current negotiations in the opening floor remarks this Tuesday, in a potential sign that both sides are looking to lock down a deal rather than hurl the usual insults about who is to blame. McConnell instead made news of his own by finally acknowledging Joe Biden as the president-elect. While McConnell and Pelosi have yet to comment on the specifics of the bipartisan Senate bill, other senior lawmakers in both parties have been optimistic this week that it could serve as a framework for a final deal. And folks, Senator Sanders and Josh Hawley are also continuing to push for a second relief bill of $1,200. Before the current effort, they had never signed onto a bill sponsored by the other side of the party. Hawley votes for legislation backed by Trump more than 85% of the time, and Sanders does so just 15% of the time. But the push for stimulus checks is an example of the leadership in Congress. Sanders said, "Why don't we take it one step at a time?" And when asked about divergent political views, he said, "It may be that we still have disagreements, but whatever that package may be, this stuff has got to be in it." Hawley first said on Thursday morning that he was going to be introducing his own standalone bill. But just hours later, he and Sanders were tag teaming on the Senate floor, pushing for more stimulus payments. Hawley urged Trump earlier this month to veto any proposal that did not include stimulus payments. And Trump, meanwhile, said over the weekend that he wants to see checks for more money than they're talking about, going to people, and that he's pushing very hard for its approval.
For 248 days. Today, more talk and no action. Only 31 days remain until major relief measures expire, including unemployment benefits, protections against evicting those who cannot pay their rent, and the deferment of student loans. Small businesses are also desperate for help.
With that being said, folks, that is all the news in regards to your second stimulus payment and the unemployment benefits. If you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell. Thank you for watching, everybody, and until next time, have a great day.
Days remain until major relief measures expire, including unemployment benefits, protections against evicting those who cannot pay their rent,